Hello everybody, it's Foo here, and today I want to talk to you about Fidough and its evolution. Now that Scarlet and Violet have been revealed, we're in potential spoiler territory if you haven't played the games, so bear that in mind before you watch the video. So Fidough is an adorable fairy type Pokemon that you can get quite early in the games in Scarlet and Violet. Interestingly, it doesn't learn many fairy type moves at its early levels, but at level 18 it learns Play Rough, which is a very powerful fairy type move, especially for that level. And from that point onwards, this Pokemon is kind of a monster in game. It has the own tempo ability which prevents confusion and having your attack stat drop by Intimidate, which is really useful because it is a physical attacker. And Fidough evolves at level 26 into Dachsbun. Dachsbun is also mono fairy type, and it's a very defensive Pokemon with a decent speed stat too, but it's got a low HP pool and it doesn't have a big attack stat. So what you want to use this Pokemon for is switching in on physical attacks and retaliating back because you're quite fast. Dachsbun's big redeeming quality is its signature ability, Well-Baked Body. This gives it an immunity to fire-type moves and +2 defense if it gets hit by a fire-type move, which is an incredible ability, especially considering fairy typing is already great defensive typing. You're adding another immunity to that and the opportunity to boost your defense, which is already very high. It makes Dachsbun amazing for team synergy. If you're looking for something that resists both fighting and fire, for example, this is a great Pokemon to use, and that's really good for pairing with steel types that are weak to both of those typings. Fidough and Dachsbun also have hidden abilities. Fidough is Klutz, which means it can't use items, which is not very useful for Fidough. That ability is really only good on Pokemon that can swap it onto the opponent. Dachsbun's hidden ability is Aroma Veil, which prevents it from being taunted or encored or tormented, which can be helpful, but I would say the immunity from fire damage is much more consistent. As I've said, Dachsbun gets Play Rough, which is definitely its go-to stab move for damage. Fairy typing is great offensive typing as well as defensive typing, so it hits tons of Pokemon for good damage. It doesn't get many more good coverage moves via level up. It gets Crunch and some normal type moves, but it gets tons via TM. So it learns all the elemental fangs, it learns Psychic Fangs, and most importantly, it learns Stomping Tantrum, which is a ground type move. Fairy is only resisted by steel, poison, and fire, and ground is super effective against all of those. So you only really need Play Rough and Stomping Tantrum to be able to hit everything, which is really, really good. Dachsbun does get Body Press, and it has an amazing defense stat to use it with too. And if you get that Well-Baked Body boost, Body Press will be doing a ton of damage. Fairy Fighting is a really good offensive coverage too, so that's something that you could consider as well. I'll also mention that it gets Trailblaze, which is a relatively weak grass type move, but it boosts speed, which can be really nice for setting Pokemon up. The issue is that Dachsbun doesn't really have the damage output for sweeps, so I think this has limited use on Dachsbun. Then in terms of utility moves, it gets a couple of good ones via level up. It gets Charm and Roar. Charm reduces attack stats of the opponent and Roar switches them out. But I'd say its egg moves in Wish and Yawn are the best options here. So Wish can heal up Dachsbun, or it can provide healing support for the rest of its team, which is amazing. And Yawn forces your opponent to switch out, or else they will be put to sleep, which again is really great for momentum. So those two moves are really great for Dachsbun. So what sets should you use for Dachsbun? Well, in singles, I think this Pokemon will definitely be a supporting pivot Pokemon that you switch into attacks, throw up a wish, and then switch out. So it's definitely going to be more defensive, definitely invest in your HP stat and either your defense or your special defense. The defense will make it a dedicated physical wall. Special defense means that you can switch in on more Pokemon. I'd give it the leftovers to increase its recovery as much as possible, and the attacks would be Play Rough, Wish, Protect, and then either Stomping Tantrum or Yawn. Pair it with a Steel type Pokemon and you should already have a decent defensive core for your team. In doubles, this Pokemon will be much more of a utility Pokemon. So the first set I think you might want to run would again be more of a defensive set with HP and either defense or special defense, holding the Citrus Berry, and the moves would be Play Rough for damage, Protect, which is always really important in doubles battles, then a move to boost up your ally, either Helping Hand, which gives them a 1.5 times damage boost, or Howl, which boosts their attack stat. And it also boosts Dachsbun's attack stat 2, which is really nice so that your play roughs can start doing more damage as well. So Howl is a really interesting option. And then the last move I would say is Yawn, which is just, again, good for momentum in those doubles battles. You can go for Yawn and then Protect to put your opponent to sleep. Alternatively, you can run a much more disruptive Dachsbun. So on this set, I would advise you run a Jolly Nature with max speed. You still have Play Rough and Protect, but you have 2 disruptive moves to reduce the opponent's damage output in Snarl, which drops both opponents' special attack, and Charm, which drops one target's attack stat by 2 stages. So this is a different kind of set to reduce the opponent's damage output, and I think that one could be interesting to try too. All in all, Dachsbun is a decent Pokemon, but unfortunately, Scarlet and Violet have so many very good Pokemon that a decent Pokemon probably won't cut it so well in competitive play. So I doubt we'll see it too much, but it's definitely a great Pokemon for your playthrough. I used it on my team from the moment I caught it all the way through. And just a quick note on Tera typing. I think this Pokemon does really well with ground Tera typing for the same reason why Stomping Tantrum is good. It gives you really great coverage against Steel, Poison, and Fire types, and you also resist the Poison type moves that would usually be super effective. Alternatively, you could use Steel Tera typing, which is slightly better defensively because you're usually weak to Poison and Steel resists or is immune to those types, which is great. That's all I have to say about the adorable Fidough and Dachsbun for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider subscribing for more Scarlet and Violet content. That's all for today. All that's left to be said is I've been Foo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.